There is a law of opulence, and that law is as exact as the law of gravity. Prosperity is not a privilege reserved for the fortunate few. It is a divine right bestowed upon every soul brave enough to claim it. The riches you desire are already yours, waiting, eager, and radiant, just beyond the veil of fear, doubt, and false belief. To tear down that veil is not a task of labor, but a surrender of limitation. When you align yourself with the infinite supply, when you cease striving and begin knowing, when you stop begging and start declaring, then the floodgates of abundance will swing wide open. Many seek wealth through strain, manipulation, or competition, believing that effort equals earnings. But true riches, lasting, graceful, multiplying, do not bloom from the soil of struggle. They spring from the spiritual law of expectancy, clarity, gratitude, and unwavering faith. You are not here to suffer lack. You are not meant to bow before bills or shrink at the thought of money. You are the child of a limitless Creator, and your inheritance is freedom, security, and plenty. Poverty is not humility, it is disobedience to the law of divine supply. Wealth is not selfishness. It is the natural result of a soul in harmony with its highest vision. Every word you speak is a wand casting a spell on your financial affairs. Every thought you dwell upon is a seed falling into the fertile garden of your reality. You cannot harvest corn where you have planted weeds. Speak not of lack, think not of debt, focus not on fear, for those are the false gods that rob your treasure. Instead, declare, I now draw to me the wealth that is mine by divine right. I give thanks for unexpected doors opening, for golden opportunities unfolding, for money flowing freely, joyfully, and continuously. But you must do more than wish. You must know. You must act as though it were already done. You must move your feet as your faith leads you, and take inspired steps without questioning the how. The universe rearranges itself for the one who believes, not in chance, not in luck, but in law. So if you wish to become rich, truly rich, not only in banknotes but in peace, in joy, in freedom, then these 4 ways are not mere suggestions. They are the path. A sacred roadmap etched not in ink, but in universal truth. Each step, if taken with boldness and trust, leads to your golden gates. The riches are not far, they are closer than breath, as near as thought. The moment you decide, fully, fearlessly, and finally, that you are willing to be wealthy, that is the moment the tides begin to turn in your favor. Wealth is your divine right, not a privilege. This truth is not a man-made concept born of wishful thinking or ambition, but a spiritual principle rooted in the eternal law of supply. The universe is abundant by nature, and there is no lack in the divine plan. Everything in creation was made with a purpose, and every living soul was formed with inheritance in mind. The birds of the air do not toil or spin, yet they are fed. The lilies of the field neither work nor worry, yet they are clothed more splendidly than kings. Nature does not argue with abundance. It accepts it as truth. Only humanity, clouded by belief in separation and lack, forgets what it already possesses. From the moment you were born, you were not cast into this world to compete, to scrape, to beg, or to prove your worth. You were born rich, not necessarily in coins or gold, but in the capacity to receive all good things. The storehouse of heaven is full, and it is your belief alone that opens or closes the vault. If you believe that money is hard to come by, it will be. If you believe you are undeserving, the flow of supply will reflect that belief. But when you recognize your divine identity, the floodgates begin to loosen, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. You are not an orphan in a hostile universe. You are a channel through which divine intelligence expresses itself. As long as you continue to think of wealth as something outside of you, something you must earn, chase, or grasp, you will be trapped in the illusion of limitation. But once you understand that wealth is already within you, you begin to change the nature of your relationship to it. It is not something to be seized but allowed. It is not something to be earned, but something to be aligned with. There is a reason why children believe that anything is possible. Because they have not yet been taught the restrictions of a fearful world. They do not question whether the sun will rise, whether food will appear, whether love will be given. Their hearts are tuned to trust, and that trust is the golden key. When you reclaim that trust, not in a man, a job, or a bank account, but in the divine law of abundance, you begin to walk in a different rhythm. You move from striving to receiving. You speak from authority, not anxiety. Most people view wealth as something earned through effort, talent, or inheritance. They believe it belongs only to the lucky or the elite. But the law of spiritual supply does not operate through favoritism. The sun does not shine only on the rich. Rain does not fall only on palaces. The law is impersonal. It responds not to status but to consciousness. If you are willing to release the belief that you must suffer to be worthy, or that money corrupts, or that spirituality and prosperity are opposites, then you are already on the path to wealth. Much of what we've been taught about money is rooted in fear. From early childhood, phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "We can't afford that," or "Rich people are greedy," take root in the subconscious and form the bedrock of our financial lives. These ideas are not just statements, they are curses in disguise. They block the flow of prosperity and create a self-fulfilling prophecy of struggle. To step into your divine right to wealth, you must uproot these ideas completely and replace them with the truth that you live in a friendly, giving universe and you are the rightful heir to its bounty. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money, when placed above truth, above harmony, above soul purpose, is what leads to suffering. But money itself is neutral. It is energy. It is a servant, not a master. And when it is guided by a consciousness of integrity, gratitude, and love, it multiplies not only in amount but in impact. To reject money on spiritual grounds is to misunderstand its purpose. Money, when aligned with divine order, allows freedom, healing, creativity, and service. It builds temples, feeds the hungry, educates the lost, and uplifts the weary. You are not noble for being poor. You are not spiritual because you deny yourself. Self-denial is not holiness, it is confusion. Your divine right to wealth does not mean you will never face contrast. But it means that even in moments of apparent lack, you remain connected to a deeper truth. That supply is ever present and unfailing. Just as the tide always returns to the shore, the flow of money will return to you when you hold fast to the law. Faith is not tested in times of plenty, but in times of drought. And if you can declare, "I am rich," even when the evidence says otherwise, you are planting the seed of harvest. What you affirm in faith will become fact. You do not need to know how the money will come. The how belongs to the divine. Your role is to align your thoughts, words, and feelings with the truth of abundance. Say it aloud. It is my divine right to be rich. It is not selfish. It is not shameful. It is a sacred truth. Let that statement sink into your soul and begin to unravel every lie you have ever believed about money. Each time you affirm it, you are writing a new contract with the universe. A contract of reception rather than resistance. Lack is not a condition. It is a mindset, and mindsets can be changed. Begin to observe your language around money. Do you speak in fear or in faith? Do you expect struggle? Or do you expect miracles? The universe hears your expectations more loudly than your wishes. Expectation is the magnet. If you expect delay, you will be delayed. If you expect increase, you will be increased. This is the power of consciousness, and your consciousness is your currency. Some will scoff at the idea that wealth is your right. They will argue from logic, statistics, or history. But spiritual truth does not bend to public opinion. It is not limited by circumstances or collective belief. The laws that govern your prosperity are older than economics and stronger than politics. They are spiritual laws, and they do not fail. The one who dares to believe in them, despite appearances, becomes the miracle worker of their own life. To believe in your divine right to wealth is to return to your natural state. You were not created for fear. You were not born for bondage. You were made to express the fullness of life. And life, in its fullness, includes wealth, not only of money but of time, health, joy, relationships, and purpose. Money is just one reflection of your inner wealth. As within so without, When you claim your wealth inside, the outer must follow. True riches come through faith, not struggle. This is a truth that defies the teachings of the world, yet it remains the foundation of divine law. The world shouts that to gain wealth, one must hustle endlessly, push through obstacles, sacrifice rest, and constantly strive. But spiritual wisdom whispers a deeper truth, that your good comes not by force, but by alignment. Alignment with faith, with divine timing, and with the inner certainty that all things are already yours by right. Struggle is not the currency of the universe. It is not the language that unlocks the gates of prosperity. Struggle is born of fear. Fear that there is not enough, that you are not enough, that success must be earned through pain. But faith speaks another language entirely. Faith says, "What I seek is already seeking me." Faith does not strain, rush, or panic. It rests in assurance, moves with clarity, and acts in peace. Where struggle reacts, faith responds. Where struggle grasps, faith receives. When you believe that riches come through struggle, you bind yourself to effort without joy. You build a life of toil, where satisfaction is always deferred and peace is always just out of reach. But when you believe that riches come through faith, you unlock the higher path. A path where your energy is directed by inspiration, not desperation. Faith is not passive. It is the most active force in the universe. But it does not wear you out. It lifts you up. It does not deplete your spirit. It magnifies your vision. Many believe that suffering is noble, that burnout is proof of worthiness, that exhaustion is a badge of honor. But this is the programming of a world disconnected from spiritual truth. The universe never asked you to destroy yourself in order to prosper. The divine never required misery as a down payment for abundance. Faith is the only true requirement. Faith that you are supported. Faith that you are guided. Faith that what is yours cannot be kept from you. This kind of faith does not live in your intellect. It lives in your soul. Faith does not mean wishful thinking or hoping for the best while secretly fearing the worst. Faith is a knowing. A deep inner conviction that regardless of appearances, the law is at work. It is the confidence that even when the bank account is low, even when the business is quiet, even when the path seems unclear, your wealth is still on its way. It is being able to say, "All is well." Not because everything looks perfect, but because you trust the unseen order behind the scenes. People often say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But spiritual law says, you'll see it when you believe it. The riches you desire do not arrive because you have finally earned them through sweat. They arrive because you have finally accepted them in spirit. They come not when you deserve them, but when you believe you already have them. As long as you are trying to force results, manipulate outcomes, and prove your worth through relentless struggle, you are resisting the very flow that is meant to carry you. When you operate from faith, you understand timing differently. You no longer panic over delays, because you know that delay is not denial. You know that what is aligned for you will arrive at the perfect moment, in the perfect way. This knowing allows you to rest, not in laziness, but in receptivity. It allows you to stop trying to be your own source, and instead recognize that you are connected to an infinite source, one that is wiser, kinder, and more powerful than you could ever imagine. Struggle says, "I must do everything myself." Faith says, "I do my part, and the universe does the rest." Struggle lives in control. Faith lives in surrender. Struggle tries to micromanage every detail. Faith allows divine orchestration. This doesn't mean you don't act. It means your actions are inspired, not frantic. It means your decisions come from peace, not pressure. And it means that your efforts are multiplied by grace, not weighed down by fear. True riches, lasting, meaningful, soul-aligned riches, are the result of faith-led living. They flow naturally, not forcefully. They increase joyfully, not anxiously. You can tell the difference between wealth built on struggle and wealth built on faith by the spirit that surrounds it. Struggle-born wealth often comes with tension, resentment, and fear of loss. Faith-born wealth comes with gratitude, flow, and generosity. One says, "I must hold tightly, or it will disappear." The other says, What I give freely returns to me multiplied. There are those who have all the money they could ever need, but live in a poverty of spirit because it was gained through fear, control, and sacrifice of self. And there are those whose wealth grows continually, not because they hustle harder, but because they walk in unwavering faith that the divine is their supply. Faith does not lead to poverty, it leads to peace. And peace is the richest state a soul can live in. Struggle is addictive. It gives the illusion of progress. It feels productive. It even gains approval from others. But it wears down the body, clouds the mind, and dims the spirit. Faith, on the other hand, may appear quiet. It may look like stillness. But within it is the power to move mountains, attract miracles, and change lives. Faith is magnetic. It draws wealth without chasing it. It opens doors you never knew existed. It calls forth opportunities from unexpected places. It aligns you with people, ideas, and paths that your limited effort could never construct on its own. If you have been taught to value struggle, to equate effort with worth, to believe that only through sacrifice comes success, then it will take courage to step into faith. It will feel unfamiliar at first. But as you begin to release the need to earn everything through pain, you will discover a new rhythm. You will wake with trust instead of tension. You will act with ease instead of urgency. You will receive without guilt, give without fear, and walk without worry. Faith is not just a principle. It is a power. It is the engine behind all true manifestation. The greatest transformations occur not when a person tries harder, but when they believe deeper. The mind may resist this truth because the mind loves logic, but faith transcends logic. It deals in the realm of the miraculous. It sees beyond what is into what can be. And when you commit to walking by faith rather than by sight, you step into a life where wealth is not something you chase, but something you attract, naturally and effortlessly, by being in alignment with the higher order that governs all things. Your words and thoughts shape your financial reality. This is not merely poetic or symbolic. It is a spiritual law, as certain and precise as gravity. You cannot speak of lack and expect abundance. You cannot dwell on limitation and call forth freedom. The universe listens not only to what you say, but to what you feel, what you repeat, and what you believe. Each word you speak is a command sent out into the invisible, creating patterns, attracting circumstances, and carving pathways through the unseen substance of life. Your world is a reflection of your internal dialogue. What you habitually affirm, whether consciously or unconsciously, becomes the structure of your experience. Most people believe they are simply describing their reality, when in truth they are creating it with every declaration they make. Statements like, "I can't afford that," "Money is tight," "Nothing ever works out for me," or "I never get a break," are not innocent observations. They are affirmations, spells cast over your finances, locking you into patterns of struggle and scarcity. The subconscious mind does not discern between fact and sarcasm, between fear and truth. It simply receives what you feed it and acts accordingly. When you speak of lack, you program lack. When you speak of overflow, you invite it. Thoughts, too, are powerful instruments. Every repeated thought is a seed planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. Think long enough about not having enough, and you will experience not having enough. Think repeatedly about new opportunities, unexpected blessings, and divine provision, and you will begin to see them unfold in ways you cannot predict. The mind is magnetic. It draws to you people, situations, and events that match its dominant tone. If your inner conversation is fearful, your outer world will reflect fear. If your inner language is filled with faith, your world begins to mirror that faith in the form of favorable outcomes. Your financial reality is not built by your job alone. It is not shaped by the economy, by the government, or by the family you were born into. These are visible channels, but the source is always your consciousness. And your consciousness is constructed by your consistent thoughts and words. What you say becomes what you see. What you affirm becomes what you experience. If you habitually speak increase, if you deliberately think in terms of expansion, if you hold images of wealth, beauty, ease, and freedom, then the outer world must, by spiritual law, begin to conform to your inner script. There is no such thing as an idle word. Words carry vibration, and vibration is the language of creation. Each time you say, "I am broke," the universe responds with agreement. Each time you say, "I always receive more than I need," the universe answers in kind. The words, "I am," are especially powerful, for whatever follows them becomes a command to your subconscious and a direction to your destiny. Speak, "I am wealthy. I am aligned with divine supply. I am always supported," and you begin to shift your identity to match abundance. The imagination plays a vital role in this process. If your thoughts are images of fear, bills piling up, losses occurring, doors closing, your emotions will follow, and your energy will match that frequency. But when you train your mind to imagine success, to see yourself prospering, to envision checks arriving in the mail, to feel the experience of wealth in advance, you are planting powerful spiritual seeds that must come to harvest. Emotion is the fertilizer of thought. Think and feel as though you are already in possession of your desire, and your reality must rearrange to reflect that inner state. One of the most damaging habits is casual complaining. People speak lack so easily, so unconsciously, unaware that they are setting into motion the very thing they fear. To say, "This is too expensive," or "I never have enough," may feel like harmless venting, but it is creative speech. You are reinforcing your current condition. The first step to changing your financial life is to become fiercely aware of your language. Refuse to speak anything you do not wish to manifest. Make your words serve your vision, not your fear. Affirmations are not wishful thinking. They are spiritual tools, statements of truth that reshape the mind and call forth new outcomes. When you speak deliberately, with feeling and faith, you reprogram your consciousness to expect abundance. Say it often. "Money flows to me from unexpected sources. I am open and ready to receive wealth. I give thanks for the prosperity that is now mine." These are not empty phrases. They are keys that unlock new realities. Repeat them until your mind accepts them, until your emotions align with them, until your world begins to reflect them. Silence, too, plays a role. There are times when the most powerful declaration is made in stillness. The quiet conviction, the calm inner knowing that you are supported beyond what you can see. The absence of fearful chatter, the refusal to speak defeat, is itself a statement of faith. Learn to hold your peace when fear tries to speak. Learn to pause before responding in old patterns. Choose your words as carefully as a sculptor chooses their tools, for each syllable shapes the clay of your experience. Thought discipline is not about perfection, but about persistence. The mind will wander, especially if it has been trained in lack. It will offer thoughts of fear, doubt, comparison, and unworthiness. Your role is not to be upset by these thoughts, but to gently redirect them. Speak to your mind. Instruct it, say, "When no longer think that way." Say, "I choose to believe in prosperity." Say, "This is not our truth anymore." Repetition rewires the brain. It replaces old programming. It reclaims mental space for new beliefs to grow. The collective energy of society often supports the belief in scarcity. News, conversations, media, all are saturated with worry over money, survival, and limitation. If you are not intentional, you will absorb this energy unconsciously and begin to speak its language. But you are not required to agree with collective fear. You can choose a higher frequency. You can be the one who speaks abundance where others speak lack, who affirms hope where others affirm doubt, who imagines solutions where others only see problems. Do not underestimate the impact of inner speech. The quiet voice within, what you say to yourself when no one else hears, is shaping your reality as surely as the sun shapes the day. If your self-talk is loving, encouraging, and rich in expectation, your life will begin to rise to meet that standard. If your inner voice is critical, anxious, and defeated, your circumstances will follow suit. Speak to yourself as someone worthy of wealth, worthy of success, worthy of ease. The way you address yourself becomes the way life addresses you. Everything begins in the invisible, before it shows up in the visible. Thought and word are the invisible forces that precede physical form. To change your life, you must first change your inner world. If you want more money, begin by cleaning up your language. Refuse to curse your finances. Refuse to declare defeat. Refuse to say what you do not want. Instead, bless your bank account. Speak life over your finances. Declare increase, even if it seems illogical. You are not reporting the news. You are writing the script. Speak as though you are already wealthy. Think as though you are already supported. Feel as though you are already free. Let your mind and mouth become instruments of divine creation, aligning with the unseen law that says, as a person thinks in their heart, so are they. That gratitude is the golden key that unlocks the gates of wealth. It is not merely a polite gesture or a soft emotion. It is a magnetic force that multiplies all it touches. Whatever you give thanks for, you make room for. Whatever you bless blesses you. Gratitude is the great amplifier. When you express sincere appreciation for what you have, no matter how small, you begin to shift your energy from scarcity to sufficiency, from fear to trust, from complaint to celebration. And in that shift, the flow of abundance begins to open, quietly at first, then with increasing strength, like a stream turning into a river. Many people wait to feel grateful until they believe they have something worthy of gratitude. A large sum of money, a successful business, a luxurious lifestyle. But this reverses the law. It is not success that brings gratitude, it is gratitude that brings success. You must feel rich before the riches appear. You must speak as though you are blessed before the blessings become visible. The soul that knows how to give thanks in advance is the soul that opens the gates to miracles. Gratitude is faith in action. It is a declaration to the universe. I trust that all is working for my good. There is no condition so small, no provision so humble, that it is unworthy of gratitude. The air you breathe, the food on your table, the light in your eyes, the strength in your hands, these are not small things. They are wealth in seed form. When you recognize and praise what you already have, you fertilize the ground of your life so that more can grow. If you cannot bless the penny, how can you expect to receive the dollar? If you curse the job you have, how can you be trusted with something greater? Gratitude demonstrates readiness for increase. It is the proof of your spiritual maturity. It shows the universe that you are aligned with the energy of receiving. The ungrateful heart is blind to the abundance around it. It is always looking at what is missing, what is lacking, what is not yet fixed. It lives in a constant state of dissatisfaction, which becomes a repellent to good. But the grateful heart is awake. It notices the beauty in the ordinary. It sees the divine in daily provision. It gives thanks not only for what is, but also for what is coming. And that expectancy becomes a magnet for more. Gratitude is the language of faith, the posture of receivership, the vibration that matches abundance. Gratitude softens resistance. When you are in fear, you contract. Your energy tightens, your thoughts race. You try to control and manipulate. But when you are in gratitude, you relax, you expand. You surrender, you trust. This expansion creates space for new things to enter your life. It creates a frequency that allows solutions, ideas, connections, and money to flow with ease. Gratitude clears the static and tunes your soul to the divine broadcast. It helps you hear the next step, see the hidden opportunity. Notice the open door. Some may say, but how can I be grateful when my situation is so hard? This is the great paradox. Gratitude in hard times is the most powerful kind. It is easy to give thanks when all is going well. But to give thanks in the midst of struggle is to activate a deeper level of faith. It is to say, even though I walk through this valley, I trust that good is unfolding. This kind of gratitude is a spiritual weapon. It disrupts the energy of despair and sets a new frequency in motion. It is a declaration that your external condition does not control your internal reality. Gratitude is not denial. It does not ignore challenges. It simply refuses to let those challenges become your dominant narrative. It looks at difficulty and still chooses to say, something good can come from this. It looks at delay and says, There must be a better timing. It looks at lack and says, this is temporary. I know supply is on the way. Gratitude is the soul's way of staying connected to the higher truth when appearances seem to say otherwise. It is how you keep your spiritual eyes open even when the material world seems dark. When you wake in the morning, give thanks before your feet touch the ground. Before you check your phone, before you review your to-do list, speak a quiet thank you for the gift of a new day. This simple act sets the tone for what follows. It aligns your energy with the frequency of abundance. Throughout the day, find moments to say thank you, not only for the big wins, but for the small graces. A kind word, a paid bill, a warm drink, a parking spot, each is a thread in the tapestry of your wealth. Write your gratitude. Speak it aloud. Think it often. Make it a habit so ingrained that your first instinct, even in difficulty, is to bless. Keep a journal not of what's wrong, but of what's right. List the ways you are already supported. Track the small signs of increase. The more you focus on what is working, the more you draw similar energies into your experience. Gratitude sharpens your vision. It helps you see possibilities where before you saw problems. It shifts your perspective so that solutions seem to come more easily, opportunities more frequently, and money more naturally. One of the most profound practices is to give thanks in advance. Give thanks for the money that is on its way. Thank the divine for the doors that are opening, the clients who are coming, the blessings that are forming. Speak your gratitude as though what you desire is already here. This is not delusion, it is divine alignment. When you act as if you have already received, you activate the law of assumption. You bring the invisible into visibility. You close the gap between desire and reality by collapsing time through faith. Let gratitude govern your giving. When you give from fear, fear of not having enough, fear of being taken advantage of, you shut down the flow. But when you give with a grateful heart, you multiply the energy. You say to the universe, there is more where that came from. And the universe, always listening, always responding, sends more. Gratitude in giving transforms the transaction into a sacred exchange. It is not about the size of the gift, but the spirit in which it is given. Even a small offering, when given with genuine thanks, carries great power. Gratitude is a teacher. It trains you to see with spiritual eyes. It teaches you that wealth is not just about money. It is a way of being, a way of thinking, a way of living. It is the ability to walk through life with open hands and a full heart. To bless your present, trust your future, and honor your past. To recognize that you are always connected to divine supply, even when the outer form looks uncertain. To understand that each moment holds a gift, and each challenge holds a lesson wrapped in grace. The wealth you desire is already circling your life, looking for an open door. Gratitude is that door. It is the signal that says, I am ready. It is the invitation that calls the unseen into the seen. It is the proof that you are aligned with the higher law. And the more you practice it, not as a strategy, but as a lifestyle, the more you will see how the universe cannot help but respond, how conditions begin to change, how resources begin to flow, how your financial life begins to rise to meet the standard of your praise. There is a divine timing to all things, and trusting this timing is one of the most profound expressions of faith. In a world that glorifies urgency, rush, and instant results, the soul must remember that what is delayed is not denied, and what is unfolding slowly is often being prepared in perfect precision. You are not forgotten, nor are your desires being ignored. Every seed you plant through thought, word, feeling, and action is taking root in the unseen. Just because you cannot yet see the harvest does not mean it isn't coming. The invisible realm is always working, orchestrating events, aligning circumstances, preparing people, and opening doors that your physical eyes have not yet glimpsed. The one who understands divine timing does not panic when the result takes time. They do not lose their peace because the money hasn't arrived today, or the opportunity didn't come yesterday. They stand in a quiet confidence, knowing that the delay is divine preparation, and that every pause has a purpose. Sometimes, what you think you are waiting for is actually being saved for you, made better, or protected from premature exposure. The universe knows when the ground is fertile, and when the vessel is ready. It knows when your energy matches your desire. It waits until your consciousness has expanded to hold what you have asked for. It is not punishment, but precision, not resistance, but refinement. Impatience is a form of spiritual distrust. It says, I know better than divine intelligence. I must have this now, or else it will never come. But the truth is, nothing forced before its time will last. Nothing rushed will carry the fullness of blessing it was meant to hold. What comes by force must be maintained by force. But what comes by divine right, in divine time, carries grace. It fits easily. It arrives without chaos. It unfolds naturally. It comes with peace, not panic. There is no struggle in divine flow. Only alignment. You are not meant to strive endlessly. You are meant to align. You are not meant to chase your good. You are meant to prepare for it, expect it, trust it. Your job is not to control the timeline, but to stay in energetic agreement with the outcome, to keep your vision clear, to guard your thoughts, to nourish your spirit, to keep your hands open and your heart soft. If the vision was planted in you, then the time for its fulfillment will come. But it will come when you are truly ready, not just in desire, but in vibration, in capacity, in faith. Many abandon their dreams too soon. They dig up their seeds before the roots have had time to form. They declare failure because the results haven't appeared on their schedule. But the wise soul understands the law of gestation. Just as the child is formed in the womb before it enters the world, so too are your desires formed in the invisible before they take shape in the visible. You must not interfere with this sacred process. You must allow the dream to mature in silence, to be nurtured by unseen forces, to grow in strength before it emerges. Trusting divine timing also means releasing comparison. Just because someone else received their breakthrough before you does not mean you are behind. Life is not a race. There is no scarcity of opportunity. Another person's blessing does not subtract from your own. Their timing is not your timing, and their path is not your path. When you look at others and feel envious, you interrupt your own alignment. But when you bless them and return your focus inward, you restore your connection to your own flow. You say, if it can happen for them, it can happen for me. And it will, in perfect time. The seasons of life are real. There are seasons for sowing and seasons for reaping. There are seasons for preparation and seasons for performance. There are winters where nothing seems to move, and springs where everything begins to bloom. You must not curse the winter, for it is in this stillness that the deep inner work is done. It is in the waiting that your roots are strengthened, your vision clarified, and your faith purified. The soul that learns to wait with grace becomes unshakable. It becomes immune to the noise, steady in storms, and faithful even when evidence is absent. Spiritual maturity is revealed not in how loudly you declare your faith, but in how calmly you wait when the answer hasn't yet arrived. Can you praise when there's no proof? Can you rejoice when there's no result? Can you prepare the table even though the guest of prosperity hasn't yet knocked? This is the test of trust. This is where the shift occurs. For the moment you fully surrender the how and the when, the energy that once resisted begins to relax. And in that surrender, in that release of tension, the way is made clear. You are not meant to beg for your blessings. You are meant to claim them. But claiming is not pushing. Claiming is standing. It is remaining centered. It is moving forward with expectation, even when the path seems hidden. It is continuing to act in faith, to give in faith, to speak in faith, to live in faith. Divine timing requires spiritual discernment. There will be moments when you are called to act boldly, and moments when you are asked to wait in stillness. Both are powerful. Both are necessary. And only your inner guidance can tell the difference. To live in alignment with divine timing is to move with the rhythm of your soul. It is to no longer be swayed by external pressure or fear-based timelines. It is to become so anchored in your own knowing that you no longer need constant reassurance. You know that all things are working for your good. You know that what is yours cannot be lost. You know that when the time is right, nothing can stop it. You know that delay is never rejection. It is redirection, preparation, protection. When you align with this trust, your energy changes. You no longer chase money, people, or opportunity. You attract them. You no longer need to force doors open. They open for you. You no longer speak from desperation. You speak from quiet confidence. And in that energy, everything begins to shift. Ideas come more easily. Synchronicities increase. Resources show up. People appear. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. Even in the waiting, life is happening. Even in the quiet seasons, the soil is working. The universe is not still, even when it appears so. It is always rearranging, always responding, always moving in perfect harmony with your dominant vibration. If you maintain your inner atmosphere, if you keep speaking truth, acting in faith, and holding your vision, then you are doing all that is required. You don't have to know exactly how it will happen. You don't have to map out every step. You simply have to remain willing, open, receptive, and in alignment. The most beautiful things in life often come suddenly, but they are never truly sudden. They are the result of consistent faith, quiet preparation, unseen growth, and unwavering trust. Like a tree that blooms overnight after months of appearing barren, your breakthrough may seem instant, but it was never random. It arrived because the time was finally right. The roots were deep enough. The vessel was strong enough. The energy was high enough, and everything within you said yes. When the inside matches the desire, the outside must shift. It is spiritual law, and spiritual law is never broken.